5-second ball is shown, so the race about to get underway. Justin Griffith and Lewis Richardson leading their classes in the championship coming into this weekend. Red lights go out, the race gets underway. Good start by the pole position car, which is that of Darren Ransom, number 30. An equally good start though by Jack Kingsbury on the front row of the grid, and a great start as well by Mark Ridout in the little orange car, the 182. Oh, and there's some contact further back, and there's a car that is off onto the left-hand side of the circuit. It doesn't quite go over, fortunately. I think that may have been the 14 car, was it? Jack McConnell, the Northern Irish driver that had him off up at Oulton corner, but it's Darren Ransom leading the way, then Jack Kingsbury second. It looks like Mark Ridout third in the first of the 182s, the orange car in third position, but there'll be, yes, immediately a safety car I can see is being called, and the Volkswagen Golf, the 750 Motor Club Volkswagen Golf safety car is already on the circuit, having sort of waited at the back of the grid as it normally does in these situations, and it will pick up the cars as they come through at the end of the first lap, with some recovery work needing to be done there. After that, off for Jack McConnell. Got a bit tangled up with one or two other cars, John, just on the way through Oulton.
Yeah. Started in fourth position on the second row, and there were other cars in and around him clearly, which they've all sort of tripped over one another. It's difficult to assess precisely who was at fault, because so many times it's such a busy run down into that first corner for cars on the front few rows. Jack got away with one in the sense that the car wasn't on its side when it hit the tyre barrier. Potentially the strength of the uniform strong and protected driver. Never like to see a car rolling or indeed half rolling.
We're having one or two audio issues in the commentary box, so we'll hopefully see if we can get those resolved. Hopefully you'll be able to hear us at the moment, though. Apologies for any issues that we're having. So safety car waiting as each right in front of our commentary box now as the cars will some red and silver yellow flags all the way around the circuit are unable to overtake, so they're just really lining up behind Darren Ransom at the moment. He's effectively acting as the safety car, and of course with only a 15-minute race, you don't get too many laps anyway around Oulton Park, the full international circuit here, so potentially with the interruption of a safety car you can get very few racing laps. End of lap 1 then, albeit most of it's been run behind the safety car. It's Darren Ransom, number 30, that leads the way. Then number 3, Jack Kingsbury, is in second place. In third position, it's the number 92 car of Mark Ridout. He's the first of the 182s. In fourth place, it's number 72, Pete O'Connor. In fifth place, it's number 12, Matthew Hipkins. And rounding out the top 6 at the moment is number 7, and that's Lewis Richardson.
I'm going to try and talk again. No, that's maybe slightly better now. I've been faffing around with the various settings that are in front of us, because you stick a mixing desk in front of me and I'm just going to start to mess around.
Right.
And that can either go swimmingly well or 9 times out of 10 very badly. I think maybe you can hear me maybe slightly better now. You're not missing any racing as we struggle to talk about it, because unfortunately before one racing lap was completed, we are already under a safety car, and no longer does the 14 car run, but Nick Harrison's not come through either at the end of the first lap.
I think he's just about to pull into the pit lane, I can see from our commentary box. So I think that is the Harrison car, number 111. Where were those two in relation to one another? They were one row behind the other, weren't they? So I think they probably did both manage to get themselves involved in that incident. 111 Nick Harrison and 14 Jack McConnell. Harrison's car doesn't exploit too much damage from our commentary position, so maybe it's just unfortunate that there's some hidden damage that we're unable to see.
He may, if he's gone over the gravel and sort of half followed Jack McConnell, might he have picked up a puncture potentially?
Possibly, I guess he might have done, yes. It could be something like that. I think there's some team members and possibly a scrutineer to up there now just to inspect the car. At least it doesn't look like there's any work being carried out. The driver's door is now open. And there we can see on the inset the recovery work being done. So some quick work there to already get that Jack McConnell car onto the back of the flatbed. So very efficient work done by the marshals and the recovery crew at Oulton Park. I'm sure they'll just be checking the barriers as well, because he just about made contact with those as well, didn't he, Johnny? Although, fortunately, not as heavy as it looked like he might do at one point.
Yeah, because enough of the car, the wheels of the car, the right-hand side wheels, had dug into the gravel trap, but he hadn't gone entirely into the gravel. It was just that final bit of it. But yes, as the momentum is still with the car, but the tyres and wheels get stuck in the gravel, that's so often where we can see a little Clio like this roll over. But the tyre wall did a good job in keeping Jack's car upright, and he is out and walking away.
That's good to see. So this tale of what happened then at Croft for the opening meeting of the season. Well, in the Class B for the 197-200s, it was 3 different winners. Jack Kingsbury took the victory in race 1. Darren Ransom took the honours in race 2, the second race of the weekend for the cars. And then it was Justin Griffiths that ended the weekend. And then the bridesmaid in the first 2 races with a victory there. And he emerged, therefore, from that with the Class B championship lead. 71 points he has after those first 3 races. In Class A, it was a double win for Lewis Richardson in the 182. Mark Ridout it was that took the 3rd race victory there, and all of that meant that it's Lewis Richardson that emerges with 70 points because he was 3rd in race 3 within the class. Points are scored within individual classes rather than overall finishing position. So coming into this weekend, it was Griffiths on 71 points, Richardson on 70, Jack Kingsbury on 67 and Darren Ransom on 66, the first 4 drivers in the championship. There's a long way still to go. This is round 4 of 14. After this they go to Snetterton in a couple of weeks, Cadwell Park in July, Brands Hatch in August and Mallory Park in October to round out the season, and we're live streaming that event in October for you on Alpha Live as well, which will be the final round of several championships. I think hopefully, Johnny, we might only get one more lap, this lap behind the safety car, and then we'll be able to go racing again.
That would be great, because obviously a short race anyway at 15 minutes. We don't get any extra time added because the safety car is out. No extra laps that you might get in, for example, a British Touring Car Championship race. So this is frustrating for drivers who have been building up to this first of a couple of 15-minute affairs throughout the course of the day. They were out pretty early on in the day for qualifying, 9 o'clock for the VSG Crypto Clios. Again, only 15 minutes, so we couldn't afford to have too many trying laps, should we say. Always important to get a banker in, perhaps, and we do have Nick Harrison rejoining in Trouble 1.
Do you remember when we were here in September, the Clios were here on that occasion, that they lost a race to the thunderstorm as well, so they're not having much luck here at Oulton Park, really,
no.
are they, unfortunately? We had a thunderstorm that wiped out the last 2 races of the day at Oulton Park back in September, so it took out the electrics and so forth as well. So the race meeting couldn't continue on that occasion. Safety car lights are still on. I think that the circuit is now clear, however, and we've got the cars making their way up towards Druids. Is the safety car light now out? Yes, it is. So we are going to be going racing once again. We're going to have 6 minutes of time left on the clock, so that's probably enough time for 3 racing laps, all being well, once the green flag waves to get them back underway. So the safety car is about to head into pit lane. Darren Ransom controls the pace. It will be he that decides when to put his foot down, when to go. Can he catch his opponents napping by making a very good restart? They turn their way through Lodge Corner, and on they go up towards the start and finish line, and there the green flag waves to get us back underway with Darren Ransom, number 30, leading the way, number 3 Jack Kingsbury in second place, 92 Mark Ridout is third, 72 Pete O'Connor fourth, Matthew Hipkins is fifth, and Lewis Richardson who rounds out the top 6 with racing back underway on lap 4.
1 or 2 a little bit crossed up heading into Old Hall Corner there, I noticed, because the cold tyres, particularly on the rears, you need to be heading round at a greater pace than the safety car can offer a lot of the time before that tyre temperature is sufficient to provide the necessary grip. But Darren Ransom pushing on. That's really the only solution in actual fact. Don't get too daunted with the tail wagging. Many people who've driven front-wheel drive cars over the years have said to me that actually the rear wheels, the rear axle, is just to make sure that the rear bumper doesn't drag on the ground. It's all about the front tyres and them gripping, which is the most important thing. 0.6 of a second, the gap between Darren Ransom and Jack Kingsbury as they began this lap. It's arguably come down a little bit for the first time then at racing speed heading through Britain's. And some good dicing up and down this initial top 15, Ian.
Yeah, absolutely right. Always a good battle in the Clio races, and here we've got two of the drivers that had victories at Croft battling it out for the win. The other one, Justin Griffiths, is back in 8th position overall, so he's not having a particularly good race, albeit we've only had really just about a total of 1 racing lap's worth of action so far, so he's not had much chance to progress. So we'll see if he does manage to make up some ground before the end of the race. And it's Ridout who was the winner at Croft that is still ahead. There he is in that number 92 car in the 182s, and he's got the cars from the other class in between himself and Lewis Richardson as well, so that's pretty handy for him. He does have Pete O'Connor now. He was the champion last year in the 182s and overall as well. He does go through to 3rd place, so there's now only 1 car between Ridout in the orange car and Lewis Richardson in the sort of pink and grey car of the two front running 182s.
And they indicated by the pink background on the scoring tower as well with the white numbers, so easy to tell the two different classes apart. So Ridout maybe feeling the heat a little now from Lewis Richardson, but has the buffer of Matt Hipkins in between in 5th on the road, and not really a huge battle between Richardson and the Witherington car at the moment. That's over a second the difference. And actually, Mark Ridout starting to take the fight back again to number 72, Peter O'Connor, as they head down Lakeside and into Island Bend.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. These cars will have different strengths and weaknesses around the circuit, won't they? And at different points on the lap, Ridout will be quicker, and others, Pete O'Connor will be the faster of the two. Good little scrap going on further back. I noticed that between Richardson and Mark Witherington there. And yeah, there is that's the 18 car of Witherington, and it's 55 Griffiths in fact now behind him, who hasn't made any progress. He's still there in 8th position. I say he's a winner at Croft, so I was surprised to see him as far back down the field as this here at Oulton Park. We saw that it was still Darren Ransom leading Jack Kingsbury as they headed through the Hizzies and Nicker Brooks sequence that time. Another driver that's well back is Chris Lawrence. I think he must have had something happen to him, because he's way back at the rear of the field now in 18th position. He's another driver that's regularly a front runner. There go the leaders though, turning their way through Druids. It's O'Connor in 3rd, Ridout in 4th, Matt Hipkins in 5th, and then Lewis Richardson is in 6th place as they head through Druids, and shortly they're going to go on to their final lap.
Yeah, it's a shame that, because a lot of the race taken away from them by the safety car, but a chance to do at least one more lap. Yeah, well short of a lap time though, as Darren Ransom will cross the line. So the all-blue number 30 car still under a bit of pressure from Jack Kingsbury in his number 3. Peter O'Connor, having wriggled free of Mark Ridout, makes it an all Clio 200 top 3 in the overalls. And then number 92 leading still the 182 division. Lewis Richardson and Mark Witherington still with just over a second in between them. Has Justin Griffiths made any progress? No, still wedged in 8th place. And I take your point about Chris Lawrence. He's 9th within category and 18th overall. Yeah,
that's right. So he's clearly had some kind of a problem, which we've not spotted necessarily. I'm just seeing if I have got any information on that. Oh yeah, he had briefly pulled off at Britain's, but then continued. I'm seeing on the information I've got in front of me. So obviously some intermittent problem that he has had. Meanwhile, the rest of the field continuing on in this VSG Crypto Clio Sport Championship race. It's never really, in the 3 laps that we've had, it looks like he stopped again now in the background, Lawrence, but it's never really bubbled up into something that's a real thriller. And that little dice going on between O'Connor and Ridout, but that soon dissipated. There's the 55 car of Griffiths, who still made no progress from 8th position in the sort of 3 laps of racing that we've had. Leaders, though, heading up to Driz for the final time. There's Lawrence, who's stationary at sort of the island part of the circuit. So leaders have gone through Ransom and Kingsbury. It's O'Connor and Ridout in 3rd and 4th, and they're heading up towards Lodge Corner for the final time. There's Witherington in 7th place, but the leaders here with 4 or 5 car lengths between them, not really that close at this stage. Perhaps be a more intense race too later on in the afternoon, but it is going to be Darren Ransom then that comes through to take his 2nd win of the season in the VSG Crypto Clio Sport Championship. Jack Kingsbury 6/10 of a second behind him, and then it was Pete O'Connor 3rd, Mark Ridout 4th, Matthew Hipkins 5th, and Lewis Richardson in 6th place.
Yeah, shame that, because I think as far as the qualifying times were concerned, the race was going to be fascinating had it run to its full 15 minutes, but quite a collection of cars tripping over one another coming out of Old Hall Corner. Thankfully, the number 14, Jack McConnell, although the car a little battered and bruised, Jack was able to walk away from that incident, which could have been a lot more nasty than it turned out. But as a result of the recovery work necessary and then a quick repair to the tyre wall on driver's left coming out of Old Hall, safety car was out for well over half of the race. A nice little exchange, though, as on the slowing down lap between Darren Ransom and Jack Kingsbury, waving at one another, saying, well, Darren, you kind of had the measure on me, and I couldn't really take the fight to you. But they were a reasonable distance away from Peter O'Connor, who was delayed in the early stages, trying to get by Mark Ridout's car. But a good class victory for Mark Ridout as well in Class A.
Absolutely right. So that's the first race of the day for the Clios completed. They are back out again at around about 3 o'clock this afternoon. But it was a win there for Darren Ransom, and the best lap of the race to him as well, I think, a 2:02.857 as well. So he also got the fastest lap of the race in that slightly truncated race, with about half of it run behind the safety car after that early drama for Jack McConnell during the course of that race. So number 30 it was Darren Ransom that took the win from number 3 Jack Kingsbury in 2nd place. 3rd place was number 72 Pete O'Connor, 4th to number 92 Mark Ridout, and 5th place was number 12 Matt Hipkins, 6th was number 7 Lewis Richardson, 7th was 55 Justin Griffiths, 8th number 18 Mark Witherington, 9th was number 36 Mark Enoch, and 10th was number 297 Jan Whittaker. The class win therefore going to Ridout from Richardson, and Witherington completing the Class A podium. And as we say, it's points within the classes that make up the points that are scored in this championship rather than the overall finishing position. So good result there from Ridout to keep you on. But I think it's probably going to be Darren Ransom that might even move into the lead of the championship with that result there. So more Clios later on. They're heading in on their slowing down lap.